Welcome to the weekly MindSweep, number 183, Mind Your Business Comparison, the real cost of comparison in business. A few years ago, I met the owners of a locally owned retail-style business, a beautiful brand with a loyal following and a heart-led mission. They were ready to grow, and we talked about what it might look like to position their business to evolve from a local favorite to a regional standout. I was excited and a little intimidated, and I also assumed a few things. I assumed they'd want to keep things scrappy and DIY. I assumed they wouldn't invest in a high level business consulting strategy. I assumed they'd see thoughtful branding and growth consulting as a nice to have, not a must have. So I offered a pared down package. I held back on presenting the complete vision of what we could do together and priced it based on what I thought they might expect rather than what I knew it was worth. They agreed. No questions, no edits, no negotiation. And then a year later, I found out they hired a creative consultant to build the business I could have helped them shape at 4 times the investment. And that consultant did a great job. In reflection, I had priced myself out of the bigger opportunity, not because I wasn't capable, but because I was comparing them to other small businesses I'd work with, to bigger consultants, and to what I assumed they'd value instead of what I knew I could offer. And I was 100% wrong. Comparison is everywhere in entrepreneurship. Comparison doesn't just show up when you're scrolling Instagram or size up a competitor's storefront. It's baked into the business building process. Pricing your offer, you check what others charge. Launching a new service, you wonder who's already doing it and how well. Thinking about taking a break or shifting gears, you worry that someone else will leap ahead while you're at rest. Entrepreneurs, especially creative heart-led ones, live in a world of constant input. We look around to figure out if we're behind, on track, or leading the pack. And it's not inherently bad. Social comparison is actually an adaptive strategy. Neuroscience research shows we turn to comparison to reduce uncertainty and self-evaluate. But too often it becomes a shortcut to self-doubt instead of clarity. In fact, studies show entrepreneurs sometimes enter competitions, markets, awards, certificates, not just to win, but to get comparison data and see where they stand. This might sound strange at first. Why would someone enter an award opportunity just to measure themselves against others? But it's not always about vanity or insecurity. It's about reducing uncertainty. Neuroscience research shows that in the absence of clear internal markers for success, we naturally turn outward. We look for social data. We want to know, how am I doing, really? It's why we enter saturated markets even when we're not fully ready. Why we may launch something quickly after someone else does. We might submit for an award not because we believe we'll win, but because we want feedback on our standing, our brand, and our value. It's a kind of strategic benchmarking, but it can backfire if we don't know we're doing it. Researchers call this generating comparison information, where the act of competing becomes less about the outcome and more about the insight it provides into our own abilities and position. We're using external validation as internal guidance. That can be helpful until it becomes habitual, because here's the thing. If you're not grounded in your own metrics, comparison data becomes your default GPS, and you end up building a business for the scoreboard, not your soul. Even more fascinating, people with high social comparison orientation, spoiler, that's a lot of us in creative industries, may perceive neural environments as competition, meaning your brain might interpret someone's rebrand or podcast launch as a direct challenge, even when it's not. This is why you may feel compelled to say yes to things that don't align with your vision, undercharge or overdeliver out of fear, or delay a launch because someone else already did it. It's also why things like illusory superiority, I'm probably better than average, and imposter syndrome, I'm so far behind, can coexist in the same nervous system. Both distort decision making and feed comparison. So, what do we do instead? We bring it back to center. We mind our business. Here's how. Number one, do the external research, but don't stop there. It's smart to know what others are in your space charge, how they position themselves, and where you fit in the broader landscape. That's market awareness. But comparison without context is dangerous. Pricing should also be rooted in what you need to make to sustain yourself in your business, what you want to make to grow and thrive, the time, energy, and expertise your work requires, the transformation or value you deliver to your clients or customers. Don't base your worth on a competitor's highlight reel or your assumptions about what others can afford. Number two, check the source of your decisions. When you say yes to something, pause and ask, is this choice coming from confidence or from comparison? Are you taking on that extra client, that networking event, and that new offering because it moves your vision forward or because you're afraid you'll be left behind? One is rooted in strategy, the other is rooted in scarcity. And number three, name your own metrics. Before you let someone else's success make you feel like you're falling behind, get clear on your own definition of progress. What does success look like for you? It could be making time for your morning meditations or for Pilates class. Maybe it's building a sustainable, slow growth model. It may be reaching six figures or hitting pause for a sabbatical. If you don't define what winning looks like, your brain will default to someone else's scoreboard. That experience with the retail business sticks with me, not because of what I lost, but because of what I learned. I made assumptions based on comparison. I priced from insecurity instead of from clarity. And I learned that when I don't present the complete vision of what's possible, when I water it down to make it more palatable, I'm not doing my best work. I'm not showing up with the confidence my experience has earned. These days, I view pricing through a different lens, the lens of facts in my business. I know what it costs to deliver the level of strategy, creativity, and care that I bring to the table. I know what it takes to sustain and grow, not just financially, but energetically. So when someone thinks my pricing is too much, I consider that maybe I'm in the wrong room. And if someone thinks my pricing is not enough, it's my cue to revisit how I'm valuing my experience and expertise. I don't need to match someone else's rates, their launch schedule, or their metrics of success. I need to mind my business. My questions for you this week are, have you ever priced yourself too low or too high because of what you assume someone else would pay or expect? How do you typically respond when you see someone in your industry launch something similar to what you've been working on? Reply and share with me. Ready to stop building a business for the scoreboard and start building from clarity? If you've ever undercharged, overcommitted, or second-guessed yourself because of comparison, it may be time to get grounded in your own metrics. Let's map it out together. Schedule a mapping session to explore what comparison might be influencing your decisions and uncover facts, numbers, and vision that actually support your growth. Whether you're refining your offers, rethinking your pricing, or just craving more clarity, this session is designed to help you stop spinning and start making confident, aligned moves. Let's mind your business together. Already know where you need to work on your business? Book a free consultation to learn how I can support you and your business at chickbookcreative.com.